Welcome to a new episode of Subcast. Lately it feels like you can't scroll for more than a few seconds without seeing some kind of brand mascot popping up. Like a giant inflatable thing or maybe a cartoon character with a surprisingly chaotic online presence.
Yeah, definitely seeing that too.
We've been noticing this a lot at Subsign, and it got really interesting when one of our colleagues mentioned seeing this massive pretzel mascot.
Or pretzel. Okay.
Yeah. Promoting a new shop downtown. It sparked a whole conversation here about, why is this happening now?
Right.
So today we're doing a deep dive into this resurgence of mascots in marketing. We'll be drawing on our own experiences and, observations here at Subsign, trying to understand what's driving this trend and I guess what it means for brands trying to connect with people today.
It's really fascinating how marketing trends tend to circle back, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this mascot thing, it definitely feels like that. But with a very contemporary twist. It's shaped by today's digital culture, you know, and what younger generations prefer. What strikes me is the shift in how these mascots are being used. It's quite different from the past.
Totally. And one of the first things we talk about at Subsign was just the huge pull of nostalgia.
Oh, for sure. Nostalgia is massive in marketing right now.
It seems like different generations connect with different kinds of throwbacks, though. Like, we've seen how millennials often have that soft spot for anime.
Right.
Whereas Gen Z seems drawn more to those classic, almost comforting cartoon styles. Think Snoopy or SpongeBob.
Yeah, even Sesame Street characters, Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
That sort of vibe.
Exactly.
That's a really good point. And if you think about the media Gen Z grew up with, it adds another layer.
How so?
Well, they were also exposed to cartoons that were a bit more, let's say, unexpected.
Okay.
Shows like Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, yeah. That dog was something else.
Right. Or even the storylines in the Powerpuff Girls, which could get pretty chaotic.
True.
So maybe, just maybe, that early exposure to slightly more unconventional, maybe even low-key traumatizing characters.
Huh. Low-key traumatizing. I like that.
Maybe that contributes to why they're more open to these kind of unhinged mascots we're seeing now.
That actually makes a lot of sense. And it really shines a light on the challenge brands have connecting with Gen Z authentically.
It's tough.
Their online language, the pop culture references, it all changes so fast. Remember how quickly brands jumped on certain slang terms?
Oh, yeah. And then immediately got called out for being cringe.
Exactly. Finding that balance between being relevant and, not cringe. It must be a constant headache for marketing teams.
It absolutely is. And that's actually where mascots might offer a kind of unique advantage.
How do you mean?
Well, think about internet memes. They have such a short shelf life, especially once brands start using them, right? They lose their cool factor almost instantly.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
But mascots, particularly ones that tap into that nostalgia feeling, they can offer a more enduring connection, something that lasts a bit longer.
Right. Okay, so that brings us back to why mascots might be working so well with Gen Z specifically right now.
It's quite possible these characters just evoke that feeling of nostalgia for the early 2000s, childhood stuff. We even talked at Subsign about those memories of going to McDonald's.
I'm Ronald McDonald. Yeah, the whole association.
And that kind of deeply rooted personal connection, that can be incredibly powerful for a brand.
Much more powerful than just jumping on the latest TikTok trend.
Exactly. It bypasses the fleeting nature of current internet stuff and taps into something more, fundamental, which sort of sets the stage for these more unhinged mascots.
Ah, yes. The Duolingo owl. It has to be the prime example, right?
It really is. That green owl is just everywhere online.
We were looking at its social media presence at Subsign, and it's just wild. The content is deliberately awkward sometimes.
Great cringe comedy stuff.
Yeah, and the almost absurd situations it puts itself in, recreating viral memes on TikTok, on Instagram, it definitely gets attention.
It does. And what's fascinating from a marketing angle is the very deliberate strategy behind it all.
You think it's all planned?
Oh, absolutely. It's intentionally over the top. It's often genuinely funny, you have to admit.
Right.
And it's undeniably attention-grabbing.
Can't argue with that.
Duolingo has built this massive following, basically by embracing this unconventional persona. People are actually curious, what's the owl going to do next? And that curiosity translates directly into brand engagement.
And it's not just Duolingo, is it? No. We notice connections, or at least a similar vibe, between the owl and others
Like who?
Like the Scrub Daddy Sponge.
Ah, yes, the smiley sponge. Very active online.
And even Max Scott from Domino's Pizza, the mac and cheese mascot.
Right. Yeah, there's this little ecosystem almost.
It feels like there's this weird little corner of the internet just for these chaotic brand characters.
Precisely. And the core idea, it seems, is to build a brand story that goes beyond just the product.
So it's not just buy our language app or buy our pizza.
Exactly. Instead of only focusing on selling, these brands are using the mascots to, tap into internet culture, to create these ongoing, engaging narratives around themselves.
It's such a contrast to some of the more traditional mascots we grew up with. Thinking about McDonald's again.
McDonald Lamp, yeah.
Ronald, Mayor McCheese, the Hamburglar, Grimace. That was a whole imaginative world, wasn't it? Inspired by kids' shows like Sesame Street back then.
It was. And those characters were hugely successful in their time. But, they gradually faded away.
Ronald stuck around the longest.
He did. But even Ronald's appeal seems to have shifted, especially with Gen Z. There's a perception, something we discussed at Subsign, that he feels a bit more polished, corporate.
Yeah, maybe less relatable now.
Exactly, which is the total opposite of this sort of unhinged, ironic, internet native vibe of these newer mascots like the Duolingo owl.
But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. McDonald's has actually started bringing back some of those classic mascots recently.
And they have, like Grimace last year.
Yeah, and they seem to be doing it with this, knowing wink, almost ironically.
Very self-aware.
It suggests they get it. They recognize the power of that nostalgia, but also how it fits into this current landscape of, weirder online brand characters.
A pretty clever strategy, actually. It lets them tap into that nostalgia they already own.
Right.
While also acknowledging, even playing with, the current trend of these more self-aware, internet-savvy mascots.
So this all raises a big question for any brand listening, right? Should they get a mascot? Is it the right move?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
And it's something we've definitely thought about a lot here at Subsign. Our perspective, really, is that if you're going to do it, the mascot has to feel natural.
Like it belongs to the brand.
Exactly. It needs to be a genuine extension of your brand's identity.
Oh.
Just forcing one because it's trendy, that can seriously backfire. Audiences see right through that.
That sense of authenticity is just crucial. We believe at Subsign that you shouldn't take the mascot too seriously internally either.
Neither.
Meaning, don't put crazy pressure on your social media team to, make the mascot go viral just because you have one now.
Yeah, good point. Virality isn't guaranteed.
It has to resonate genuinely first.
Yeah.
The engagement should come from that authentic connection, not just forced stunts.
And ultimately, our advice at Subsign would probably be, if you can't immediately think of a mascot that feels like a perfect natural fit for your brand.
Don't force it.
Yeah, don't feel pressured to create one just to follow the trend. It might be way more effective to focus on other strategies that actually align better with who your brand really is.
It always comes back to understanding your audience, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And figuring out what truly resonates with them in today's, very dynamic digital world.
Definitely.
The success of these unhinged mascots, it really highlights a shift in what grabs attention and what builds engagement, especially with younger audiences.
So, okay, let's try and bring this all together. It really seems like we're watching this fascinating evolution in marketing. Nostalgia is still super powerful, no doubt about it, but these newer, more unhinged mascots are proving surprisingly good at catching Gen Z's eye.
Perhaps by tapping into a different kind of childhood memory, like we said, and definitely by aligning better with current internet culture.
But as we always emphasize at Subsign, authenticity is key. And making sure there's a real, genuine connection to your brand identity, that's paramount.
Couldn't agree more.
So if you're listening and thinking about how these trends might apply to your brand, or, if you need support crafting a marketing strategy that really resonates,
one that actually connects with your target audience,
then please do reach out to us at Subsign. We're here to help you navigate all the complexities of the modern marketing landscape and develop effective strategies that actually drive results for you.